I woke up on a normal day. By evening, I was somebody with disability because of a car crash.
That statement resonated in my mind long after I did that particular interview with Bright Oyuaya, a road accident survivor a year ago. But what inspired me is her willingness to share her story to save people's lives. And that, on a broader spectrum, is the message we want to share on Autoworld today. Last week, I made my way to Embakasi, where in a serene environment, the Glen Edmonds School of Performance sits. It looks like a probably calm place. However, the action that takes place here is just sweat-breaking. Glen Edmonds, an expert in performance driving, double Safari Rally winner and Motorsportsman of the Year, is the man behind the school. Apart from that, he is simply passionate about road safety. Defensive driving takes you back to basics. Emphasis is put on things like hazard awareness, space management, proper braking pedal control, and collision avoidance, which is actually the most important.
So defensive driving is where you drive the vehicle to the best of your ability, using that vehicle more than 80%. So basically what you're doing is you're driving the vehicle and getting the best out of that vehicle and driving it in a way that keeps you safe.
If you think about it, most of the accidents that you are likely to get into or see on a daily basis are collisions like this.
Most drivers, unfortunately, drive way too fast for their capabilities. And that's where the problem is that they start driving really fast, the cars are fast, and before you know it, somebody pulls out in front of them, a child walks out in front of them, they don't know how to react. Their very first instinct is to go to the brake. And unfortunately, that's not always the best thing. Sometimes all they need to do is release the accelerator, steer the car, and they're away. Just a normal solution.
Glenn decided to show me some techniques that you could apply to avoid the worst.
What happens in most cases in an accident, they go to the brake, they then get locked on the target, which could be the back of another vehicle, a roundabout, and they are so focused on that they forget everything. Yes. And where do they end up? In the back of the car or in the roundabout. And that's called target fixation. And we do a lot with the drivers here about target fixation. About you must look where you want the vehicle to go. Very rarely will you see a racing driver keeping his head straight. He's always moving his head. Once he turns the corner, he starts to move his head because your hands follow your eyes and then the car goes out.
The second exercise that Glenn took me through was on the skidding pan. What this technique teaches you is that locking the brakes doesn't stop you faster than maximizing the brakes by not locking them, what's known as threshold braking.
Right braking is where you press the brake to the point where you don't lock the brakes. The moment those brakes are locked, what do? You've lost steering and the car won't respond to you. So most people, when they press the brake and the car is sliding, they just keep adding brake, adding brake, adding brake, and then steering, and the car is saying, look mate, you either want me to brake or you want me to steer, make up your mind.
This is just a number of techniques that you can use to avoid common and life-threatening accidents to you as a passenger and to other road users. It is at least a first step of keeping you safe in a crazy world. For Autoworld, I'm Betty Kialo.